Welcome to Football with Cheese. So in this video, we continue our series of doing the 5 biggest offseason moves for every team. We did the NFC West last week. This week we're doing the AFC West. And this video is all about the Los Angeles Chargers. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell for notification so you never miss one of my videos. So let's go over how this works. I'm going to give you the 5 biggest moves that the Chargers made in the offseason in no particular order. Could be anything. Free agent signing, draft pick, trade, coaching change, whatever. You get the point. And then your job in the comments is to let me know which move will impact the Chargers the most, in your opinion, for the 2026 season. Got it? Okay, cool. So the Chargers are a really fascinating team because they made the playoffs the last couple years. They have a franchise quarterback. They have Jim Harbaugh as their head coach. They have a good roster. And they had all this cap room. And I thought they'd be the most aggressive team out there. And they just weren't. And we'll talk about that in the top 5. So let's go number 1. They brought in Mike McDaniel as the new offensive coordinator, replacing Greg Roman. And let's be honest, they are very, very different as far as style goes. Mike McDaniel will bring more of an outside zone scheme with a lot of motion. And Greg Roman was more of a run-heavy gap scheme type guy. So the main reason, in my opinion, that they brought in Mike McDaniel is to fix Justin Herbert. I don't know if fix is the right term, but to get the most out of him. Last year, it was tough to evaluate Herbert because of the offensive line injuries. Basically, it was the worst offensive line, maybe ever. It was an absolute disaster. There was not one person on that line that should be starting. Of course, there were a lot of injuries. So I love this hire. I'll just say this. I think Mike McDaniel is a brilliant coach. I think the fact that he got 7 wins out of the Dolphins, he should have been coach of the year. That roster is awful. And I think he's one and done. I think he'll get a head coaching job next year. This is such a great move by the Chargers. Anyone that gets Tua Tagovailoa playing even good is a genius. So you've got a much more talented, much better quarterback in Justin Herbert. If the offensive line can stay healthy, holy crap, this could be an amazing offense. Number 2, not being more aggressive in free agency to fill 2 huge needs at edge rusher and guard. You know, Trevor Penning and Cole Strange just cannot be your starting guards. They're not good football players. Backups, fine, but you don't want them as starters. And right now, Cole Strange is projected to be the starting right guard. A little scary. But they could have gone after Trey Hendrickson at edge rusher, signed with the Ravens. They could have gone after Jalen Phillips, who signed with the Panthers. At guard, they could have gone after Isaac Seumalo. And I know they want to preserve their 4th-round compensatory pick for losing Odafe Owa. I get it. Next year's going to be a strong draft. But it's just a 4th-round pick. Yes, if you sign a big-time free agent, you lose it. But you could have signed 2 or 3 free agents with the amount of cap room that you had. Look, I like the philosophy. Build through the draft, re-sign your own free agents. But when you have over $100 million in salary cap room, and a lot next year as well, you can be aggressive. You can go after some of these guys. I just felt like they have a chance to be one of the best teams in the NFL and may have possibly blown that in not being more aggressive, filling a couple needs in free agency, and then filling out the rest of your roster in the draft. They did fill some needs in the draft. We'll get to that in a second. And I did like the signing of Tyler Biadasz to play center. They needed to upgrade all 3 interior spots. The main reason they signed him is because he doesn't count toward the compensatory pick formula because he is released by Washington. If you're released and not just an unrestricted free agent, then it doesn't count toward compensatory picks. So you don't want to sign Isaac Seumalo because it will cost you your 4th-round pick? Well, why not Elton Jenkins? He was released by Green Bay. He's been a really good left guard for many years. I just felt like they needed to address more needs in free agency. I felt like they could have signed an edge rusher and a guard, and then in the draft just fill out the rest of the roster. And if they had done that and nailed the draft, and I do think they had a good draft, then you might even be able to put them in the same category as far as roster as the Rams or Seahawks. I just don't think they're there, but they had an opportunity to be there. Once again, I do like the philosophy, but you got to do something with that cap room. Number 3, drafting those needs in the draft. So they took Akeem Messidor in the 1st round. He's an edge rusher from Miami. He only fell because he's 25 years old and never played as amazing as he did in previous years. He was amazing, by the way, for Miami this past year. So it's a good fit, and it's a huge need because they lost Odafe Oweh. And then Jake Slaughter in the second round. He had only played center at Florida. I thought this was a reach. I had him going around later. He will play left guard. I will say this, he's a very good fit in the outside zone scheme they'll play under Mike McDaniel. And I'm sure you've heard this before. If you can play center, you very likely can play guard. And who knows, Tyler Biadasz might not be on the team in a year or two, and maybe Jake Slaughter is the future center. So while I thought there were better players on the board, the fit makes a ton of sense. Number 4. They lost their defensive coordinator, Jesse Minter, to the Baltimore Ravens. He became their head coach. And I'm looking at the Chargers roster the last couple of years, at least on defense, looking at the talent. I think it's average at best on that side of the ball. Yet somehow, they always seem to have a top 5, top 6 defense. And I think Jesse Minter is the reason why. I think he's one of the best defensive minds in the game. And I think it's a huge loss. They did hire Chris O'Leary to replace him. But I just feel like this loss will hurt the defense more than the Chargers realize. And number 5, this isn't really an offseason move, but the offensive tackles have to stay healthy. They have one of the best tandems in the league, Rashawn Slater at left tackle, Joe Alt at right tackle. You have to give Herbert time. He was running for his life. If you saw the playoff game against the Patriots, there was nothing they could do. The offensive line didn't block a thing. Literally 5 guys that should not even be in the league. That's how bad it was. Or a practice squad at best. So they upgraded center with Biadasz. They got Jake Slaughter. But those offensive tackles must stay healthy. They did draft Travis Burke, I believe, in the 4th round from Memphis to be the swing tackle. So at least they have depth there this year. And they drafted 2 more offensive linemen late in the draft. But those guys must stay healthy if the Chargers want a long playoff run. So let me know in the comments, which of these 5 moves do you think will impact the Chargers' 2026 season the most? If you enjoyed this, give me a thumbs up. Really helps out the channel. Share this with anyone who loves football. Once again, I cover all 32 teams on this channel. Lights Out Podcast. Me and Mike, we do it every Tuesday night, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. Link in the description. Check out these videos on the screen if you have not. The first one is the draft recap of every team in the AFC West. The other one is breaking down every first-round pick in the draft. And I will see you guys in the next one.